All right, good afternoon, morning, wherever you are. This is Little Shop of Nerds, bringing you all the good hits of what to be like being a nerd, from anime, Star Wars, or even fucking video games or movies
And books.
and books. Yeah, check our one episode when we talked all about the Harry Potter stuff.
That was all me.
It was.
I love Harry Potter. Anyways, we should introduce ourselves.
I'm Mike.
I'm Julia.
All right. What was the hit from last week, Jules?
Last week's hint was leave the sewing to the women.
And yes, I asked her to do it because I don't want none of you guys, those people who are feminists, to cancel me. So, in one way,
You wouldn't have gotten canceled anyways, Mike.
I don't know, because those people are really nuts nowadays.
Some of them are really nuts these days.
No,
Don't go generalizing all feminists now.
Okay, you got a point. Some, let's just say, just some. But there's some that are like, most of them are pretty cool, understanding. Some are not. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
And yes, the answer to if you didn't get that answer, if you didn't get the hint, it means we're going to be talking about our favorite Disney movie from
1950.
Now you can see why when that phrase came out. Anyways, it's the Cinderella movie.
Yes, the animated Cinderella movie. Not to be confused with the movie that came out here, the live action that came out here just a few years ago.
I heard that movie sucked.
Yeah. We will eventually be talking about it, because this is going to kind of like be... If you haven't noticed, we have talked about Ever After, which is a Cinderella story, and now we're actually talking about Cinderella.
Yes.
And we do have a couple more Cinderella-esque movies that we're going to talk about.
Yes, and if we can get through most of those, maybe we'll make a playlist and you guys can listen to all of them just through the playlist. Because, yes, our idea is to make it to like a series type deal. So, yes, we just did the Ever After with Drew Barrymore, Angelica Houston. Now we're doing the cartoon from the Disneyverse.
Like what we call... I wouldn't say it's the original, considering that the Brothers Grimm put out the original.
Oh, yeah, the Brothers Grimm, creepy, yes.
We will actually talk about that at the end of this video.
Yes, okay. Ready to start? Let's do it.
Go ahead, if you want to start. Do you want me to start?
I'll get it. Alright. Now, you know the typical story fashion. It opens with...
Excuse me?
With this, the movie opens up with a book opening, actually, called Cinderella. And I forget who was narrating it, but it was narrating about how Cinderella's father got remarried. She then, with her...
Yeah, because the wife died. Cinderella's mom died.
And you could tell by the looks she was evil. Then, after, he dies, during his deathbed, you can see the evil glare that she was giving to Cinderella, and her stepsisters were like, not evil, didn't look evil, didn't give an evil glare, just that stepmother, and that evil glare makes you like,
yeah, she did not like Cinderella because, to be honest, Cinderella was cuter than her daughters, and her daughters is Lady Tremaine, and her daughters are named Anastasia and Drusilla. And they are not... Mike's over here losing it.
I still laugh at that name because it sounds... I know it's a normal name, but it does kind of sound dirty.
Mike, get your mind out of the gutter.
Come on, you don't think so?
No, I don't.
Well, whatever. But yes, we opened with her grown up. I think a teenager.
If probably late teens, early 20s, probably at this point.
Yeah, like I said, it just depends on her, and she's waking up, and one thing about it I know is, like, when you watch, like, Snow White, there's many musical numbers, but with Cinderella, not very much. There's some, but not a lot.
There's, like, the really popular one, like Bippity Boppity Boo, Now, the one that she sings at the beginning, for some reason, I will find myself humming that song for no reason.
This is love.
I would be in the bedroom, or not the bedroom, the bathroom, just doing my business, get ready for work or whatever, and then I would just start humming it for no reason.
And the birds come in, wakes her up, doing the little tweet, and they're singing along. Then, when the town's clock go off, and she gets a little mad because she knows she has to get up and do all the evil bidding for her stepmother, stepsisters, and other stuff. And throughout the whole movie, you'll see mice, birds help her out with, and the mice talk, not the birds. You ever realize how weird that was? Like, the mice were the only ones that talk, but not the dog, Bruno, not Lucifer the cat, not even the birds. They'll just tweet, but the mice will talk.
Yeah, I noticed that. Kind of reminds me of the mighty mice from Demon Slayer.
I know, right? That was like weird. But besides that, it had a good story, and one of the mice comes in named, was it Jack or Jacques?
Jack. And he says that they found another mouse, and his name ended up being Gus. So then they called him Gus Gus.
And one thing you know about Gus Gus, he's a chubby guy.
Yeah, he kind of the way that, now this is probably gonna sound bad, but the way that Gus was talking kind of reminded me a little bit of the big guy from Mice and Men.
Oh, was it Lenny?
I think so.
The one he's like, tell me about the rapids, George.
Yes, him. I don't know why, and that's why I'm saying that this probably sounds really bad, but he kind of reminded me of that. Even though Gus doesn't do anything remotely as bad as Lenny did.
No, but
I don't know why I was getting Lenny vibes from Gus.
Well, here's the thing is, I think with Lenny, he's I want to say the medical term, but let's just say for sake he was mentally slow.
Yeah.
And he didn't understand adult functions and before, yes, I know I did his voice, but that's how he sounds in the movies. That's what they did, especially the one with in the remake in the 90s. That's how they made him sound. So before you get all mad, go fucking talk to the actors and do them, then cancel them before you do it to me. But yes, I know. And here's the thing. I think with Gus Gus, I don't think it was a mental thing. I think he just repeated himself. That's why I always I thought he had OCD.
Yeah, well, I mean, I also think that it was probably, with Gus, it was just, he didn't really understand,
well, that too.
Like, human speech as much as, like, the others would.
Yeah, I can see that too, but it's just thing after another, but still. Then we see, Cinderella starting the morning, making the breakfast for her mother and stepsisters, the mice going down to get some food for themselves, and then you see Lucifer, and I really hate that cat.
I really hate Lucifer too.
Like, he's a devil cat, that's why. And you got Bruno, and Bruno, I don't care what people say. I'm going to take over the dog over the cat any day. But besides that, like, I met some good cats, but still, I'm a dog person. But besides that, Bruno is dreaming about chasing Lucifer, and Cinderella's like, hey, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And Lucifer keeps picking on him and he does this whole pretend faint thing, and blames Bruno that he didn't do anything, but by making it look like it. And I'm like, see, cats are evil. Some cats are evil.
Yeah, my cats are good though.
Yeah, your cats are fine. They're good cats.
Yeah, I got Noelle, and we're taking care of my friend's cat, Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi's not as well behaved as my cat.
But
But and then we got my dog Chewy.
Yes, and and besides that, they did the whole shebang. Cinderella's doing the chores, feeding the horses, the livestock, and the mice distracts Lucifer, and you get the point.
He gets some food. Gus almost gets captured by Lucifer, but they manage to get through. Well, then Gus gets under one of, I can't remember if it was Anastasia or Drusilla's cup, but Cinderella didn't know and took no, I don't think it was Gus, it might have been Jack. It was either Jack or Gus.
It was Gus.
Was it Gus? Okay, so yeah, Gus gets stuck under a cup. Lucifer's trying to get to the mouse, does not succeed. One of the stepsisters finds the mouse in her cup. She screams, and then Cinderella gets assigned a lot of chores because they thought that she did it on purpose when she did not do it on purpose. So then she's in the foyer, or no, before that, you cut to the king in the castle, and he's talking about how he wants his son to get married, and it's time for him to settle down. He would like to hear the pitter-patter of little grandchildren's feet, and so then they decide to hold a ball to see if any of the young women would catch the prince's eye, because I guess he was coming back from something. And so they were going to hold the ball that night, which, give them props for getting the ball set up in one day.
I don't think it was one day, but
no, they said that night, and it happened that night.
Well, either way, still, the excuse of he says he wanted his son to settle down. I think it was just an excuse that, hey, I want a grandkid.
Possibly, sounds like your dad.
Nah, he doesn't bug me about having a grandkid. But I know he said he wanted more, but I was like, I even told him this, right? I even told him this as a sarcastic joke. I'm like, Dad, if you can find me a woman that can stand my stubborn ass, then I'll marry her. But right now, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, like my mom's been kind of like hinting to me that she wants grandchildren because my little brother, does not have a girlfriend. He doesn't really seem to be interested in having a girlfriend. And I've been in a 10-year relationship with my boyfriend, and my mom's like, when are you going to give me grandchildren? And I'm like, you do got grandchildren. Their names are Chewy and Noelle. And she's like, they're not my real grandchildren. I was like, Mom, how dare you say that? I was like, they are my babies, so they are your grandchildren.
Oh, yeah. I think why my dad wants me to have grandkids, because my dad already has grandkids. He's got 3 grandsons, so it's like
from your sister,
from my sister, older sister. But I guess he wants more, but I'm like, good luck with that.
I mean, he may just want you to have a child to carry on his genes or whatever.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to let that happen. Even if I did have a girlfriend and even I got married, I don't want kids. To me, it's no offense to people who want them. Good for you. Kids are good. They bring joy to your life. Just not to me.
Yeah, I don't really want kids either.
I get stressed easily. I get a little temperamental.
He really does. I've seen it at work.
Oh, I do. And I don't think it's a good idea and trust me, I had that through my childhood. But now that's just normal parents bickering at each other. But still, it's just, I don't want to bring that around a kid.
Yeah.
And I think it's unhealthy, so I don't want to bring that around them.
Yeah. So, let's get back to so then it cuts back to Cinderella, and Cinderella's in the foyer, and she's first it's Anastasia and Drusilla and Lady Tremaine. They're doing music lessons. I think it was Anastasia was playing the flute, and Drusilla was singing, and Lady Tremaine was playing the piano. Drusilla sucks ass at singing.
Oh yeah, when she was like, duh, I'm like,
yeah.
I was like hoping maybe Simon Cowell will come around the corner and say, that was dreadful. You cannot sing with your ass.
Yeah. So, even Lucifer didn't like it. So Lucifer left the room and shut the door. But then Cinderella was down in the foyer. She was mopping the foyer and she was singing. And then fucking Lucifer comes down, gets into the dirt, and leaves leaves paw prints all over the foyer that she had just cleaned. And she's like, "Are you serious? Now I have to do this all over again." And then the guy from the castle shows up to give her the letter from the king, the invitation, saying that all eligible women are invited to attend the ball at the castle that night. So all eligible women, okay? That includes Anastasia, Drizella, and Cinderella, because Cinderella is also an eligible woman, and she technically is part of that family, even if they treat her like a slave.
Before we get any further, you said how Lucifer left paw prints around, and I see out through the movie he's always a dick to her. I get it. I get it. He's loyal to his owner, but why the hell do you hate Cinderella too? You're a damn cat.
I mean, if you're getting fed, I would assume that you would like that person feeding you.
I would agree. I don't see the stepmother feeding him.
I mean, if you bring me food, which you have, and you put it down in front of me, I would rub all over you like a cat would.
Okay, you might want to rephrase that. Because right now I think some people from the BDSM community is like, can you repeat that, please? Because I really want to get that idea for my submissive. And no offense to the people who are there, I do support the kink community. Just do it safe and also have consent.
Yeah. So Cinderella takes the invitation up to Lady Tremaine, interrupts their music lesson. The girls get all excited because, oh my god, it's an invitation from the palace. And then Lady Tremaine's like, I'll read it. And then she takes it and she tells them, oh, it's a ball. And it's in the prince's honor. And all eligible women are invited to attend. And then Cinderella's like, well, can I go? She's like, I am an eligible woman or maiden. And I, am a part of this family. And she's like, well, if you finish all of your chores and if you can find a suitable dress. So Cinderella goes up to her room and she's like, I got the perfect dress. She's like, this was my mother's old dress. It's a bit old-fashioned, but I can work on it and get it ready. Well, the girls and the stepmother, had her doing so much stuff that she never got to work on, her dress. And the mice and the birds saw this, and they're like, okay, well, let's make Cinderella's dress for her. That's where the term leave the sewing to the women comes in, because there was a song, and that's one of the female mice said, leave the sewing to the women. Like, they basically told them to go out and get stuff for the dress, and that they would do the sewing.
And here's the thing. The boys do go find stuff like a slash.
It was a sash, and it was a set of beads that the sisters didn't want.
And here's the thing. They said they didn't want. But we'll get that to when it gets there. But, shenanigans happen against with the mice and Lucifer. Mm-hmm. And they get all the beads, Like, they get...
Ignore that.
Besides that, they get the sash. Then they get the beads. But here's the thing, the beads break and fucking Jock puts the beads on Gus's tail.
Yeah, Gus was trying to pick them up in his shirt, and Jack was putting them on his tail.
And I'm like...
They do manage to get away with the beads in the sash before Lucifer catches them.
But besides that, they get through it. They do the whole song, fixing up the dress. And Cinderella knows she couldn't go because it was too late because she didn't fix her dress. And, she goes upstairs, finds her dress, makes it downstairs, and she thought she's in the clear.
Yeah, they're like, oh. And then the stepmother was like, oh, don't you think that's nice beads? Don't you? I can't remember if it was Anastasia or Drizella, but she basically pointed out the items that the sisters had thrown away. And then they get all upset, and then they rip her dress to shreds. Which, if you've seen Cinderella, this is a really popular scene where they just rip the dress to shreds, and she runs out of the house crying because now she can't go because her dress was ruined.
And this is another thing I want to bring up. They say they don't want it, they throw it away, and I'm like, what the hell? You say you don't want it, you don't need it, but you want it back. I get it. I don't like sharing shit either, but you're like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And how they tear all that shit, I'm like, all her dress up to shreds and shit, and I'm like,
And it kind of sucks because that might have been the last dress that she had from her mother.
oh, it was, and definitely, and I'm like, there's times of like when I saw that scene, I was like, I wanted to say what the fuck's wrong with you, B?
Yeah, so, Cinderella goes out into the garden and she's crying, and all the animals are like around her looking all sad. And then the fairy godmother appears, and she sings Bippity Boppity Boo, which is pretty much the most popular song from the movie.
Yes, and she turns the mice into horses.
Turns the mice into horses. The horse turns the driver.
And turn Bruno into what?
It's like the footman.
Footman, and
a pumpkin was turned into the carriage.
And like she's like, okay, you're ready to go. It's like, what about my dress? He's like,
first she said that her dress was fine,
but she had to take a double look.
Yeah, and then she's like, oh, well, you can't go like that. So then she changed Cinderella's dress into this beautiful blue sparkly dress and gave her glass slippers.
Yes, and
but she only had until midnight. Now, this is the thing. I think at this point it was probably about 9 o'clock at night, if I remember correctly. Maybe 10 by the time Cinderella got there.
Could be.
She only had until midnight, so she only had 2 hours to to experience the ball. So as soon as she gets there, like you see all the women being introduced to the prince, and the prince is just like looking bored as fuck. He's like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to get married. All these girls are basic as fuck. I don't want this.
And wait, you said basic?
Basic as fuck.
So they're a basic
bitch.
Yep.
Yeah. But he's just like, yeah, I don't want to be here. And then Anastasia and Drusilla get called up, and he stops, and he's looking at them, and they think that he is looking at them, but in reality, Cinderella is behind them, just like looking around, like, I've never been to somewhere nearly as cool or fancy as this. And then he goes out to her, and then they just dance. And they dance, and they spend like 2 to 3 hours together. And then just as they're about to kiss, the clock strikes midnight, and Cinderella has to go. Mm-hmm. Though Lady Tremaine was a little suspicious when she first saw Cinderella at the ball, because she's like, why does Cinderella look so familiar? What is this? But before she could get a closer look, they cut her off and she couldn't see him, because the king saw this, and the king's like, oh, he's found his woman, the woman that he's going to marry, so we need to keep them together so they can get married and I can have grandchildren by this time tomorrow night, I'll have grandchildren. And unfortunately, Cinderella does, well, fortunately, she gets away. She does lose a glass slipper in the process, which pretty much everybody knows that. Even if you've never seen Cinderella, everybody knows that. And she, as the clock struck, like the last stroke of midnight, everything just disappears. The horses turn back into mice, the horse turns back into, or the driver turns back into a horse. Bruno turns back into, a dog. The pumpkin turns into a pumpkin. Cinderella's dress turns back the way that it is, except for she gets to keep one of her slippers, one of her glass slippers.
Because she lost the other one, and technically it's a package deal.
Yeah, so they get out of the way in time, and so then the next morning, the little chancellor dude or whatever the fuck he is, he goes into the king's quarters, and he's like, hey, so yeah, she got away last night, but she did leave behind the slipper. And like the king's, like, while the guy's trying to explain this to the king's trying to kill him.
Yes, but here's the thing, the king has like an idea with it. He's like, go around, take the shoe, and if it fits someone, he'll marry her. I'm like, But what happens if it ain't her? He's like, I don't care. It'll help, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. And it's just the king wants grandkids. I'm like, oh my god, you're like that typical dad parent who wants grandkids. I'm like, what is it with the? I don't get that. I get continue the bloodline and stuff, but I'm like, what is it with you guys?
Yeah. So there was like a summons that went around saying that he was going to be showing up everywhere, and have the women try on the eligible women try on the shoe, and Cinderella kind of gives herself away to the stepmother, because technically Cinderella wasn't supposed to be there, but she was. Stepmother is suspicious that Cinderella was probably the one that was there. So then they lock Cinderella up in her attic room. And she can't get out. So then there's more shenanigans with the mice trying to get the key from the mother, the stepmother, while the chancellor dude was there, handing out, like getting the girls to try on the shoes, which the girls have like comically giant feet.
Big ass feet.
So we will actually talk about that here from the original Brothers Grimm. But the shoes obviously don't fit. They spend forever trying to get the shoe on. It gives them enough time to like the amount of time that they are spending on trying to get these feet into the shoes gives the mice enough time to get the key up the stairs to Cinderella and get Cinderella out. Now, Lucifer does try to prevent them from getting the key to Cinderella, and he almost succeeds, but then Bruno kind of like knocks him out the window, which Lucifer's fine, because I do think he shows up in the next 2 movies.
But either way, the cat, I'm not condoning this, but the cat was an asshole.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, he deserved to get chased. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying falling out of the window. He deserves to be chased by a dog.
And he might have landed on his feet. So
yeah.
He's not hurt.
So,
he might have landed on some hay.
You never know.
But if Lucifer showed up in the next 2 movies, then obviously Lucifer's fine.
Yes.
And apparently there are like 3 movies, and I was not aware of that.
Me neither. I was kind of aware of them, but I didn't watch them.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
But besides that, they unlock the door. They go to downstairs. Lady Tremaine trips the
dude that was holding the slipper
and breaks into a million pieces. And he's like, no, no. And she pulls out the other shoe, and you know what happens. It fits. Her and the prince get married, and
they live happily
ever after. All right. Now, you said something about the Grimm's fairy tale.
Yes, so I was trying to look up something, and I did find something here. It is from the Delphi, which is the Delaware Valley Regional High School newspaper. So this was published in 2020, or not 2020, basically. February 14th of 2020. This person had written, like, it looks like an article on it. And so, I'm actually going to read this whole article because from the way that this person described it to the way that it is now. So this was written by Corey Reiki. So it says, as a kid, we all heard of or loved the movie Cinderella. So let's recap on the story. A girl, Cinderella, lost both of her parents and was forced to live with her evil stepmother and stepsisters. She wants to go to the ball, but isn't granted permission. Her fairy godmother says that she can go, but she needs to return at midnight. Cinderella goes to the ball and has an amazing time. She even meets her Prince Charming. I wish it was that easy to find love. She loses track of time and leaves the ball at midnight, but as she's leaving, she loses her glass slipper. The prince looks for her everywhere, and at the end of the film, they live happily ever after when Cinderella tries on the slipper. But do you know what the original story was like? If you thought the story started the same as Disney made it, then you're right. Cinderella's mother dies, and then her father marries her evil stepmother, adding her and Cinderella's evil stepsisters to the family. Lucky for Cinderella, her father doesn't die. Instead, he helps embarrass Cinderella along with her stepmother and stepsisters.
What a fucker.
The king of the land hosts a festival to find his son a future queen/princess. The family hears all about it and, like the Disney version, doesn't allow Cinderella to attend the festival. Cinderella decides to attend the festival anyway, but her fairy godmother isn't a part of the original story. Instead, she goes to her mother's grave and says a prayer. That's when all the magic begins. Cinderella got a beautiful gown and slippers. Nobody in her family recognized her when she attended the festival, and Cinderella and the prince fall in love. However, like in the Disney movie, she loses her slipper on the way out. The prince looks everywhere for the owner, and when he finally reaches Cinderella's house, her stepsisters try on the slipper. It fit neither of them, so one of the sisters cut off their toes to make it fit, and the other one cuts off part of her heel. They would have gotten away with it, but the prince found blood in the slipper each time. Finally, Cinderella tries on the slipper, and it fit. And like every other Disney story, they lived happily ever after. Just kidding. It was only a happy ending for Cinderella. After Cinderella and the prince got their happy ending, the evil sisters asked to gain their favor. That didn't go so well, since the sisters' eyes got pecked out by the birds. I guess you could say karma's a bird. So, the sisters lose their eyes. The stepsisters lose their eyes after trying to gain favor with Cinderella and the prince after they tried to steal the prince from Cinderella.
You know, actually, there is a Disney movie that actually what you said and described from the Grimm fairy tale, they actually did with Cinderella.
Of Disney?
Yeah, it was called Into the Woods. Into the Woods is a Broadway musical. And it talks about, you know, a baker trying to want to have kids, but have to break the witch's curse. And all the items that they need for the witch is from characters from the Brother Grimm. Like, say, they need a hood red as blood, Red Riding Hood. Or a cow white as snow or death, whatever, Jack and the Beanstalk. Or let's just say they were part of why you get the point. Mm-hmm. And they did the part with Cinderella when you said she went to her mother's graves and prayed, then the dress came and shoes. That happens in the movie.
Okay.
So they're doing some parts that's actually in the Brothers Grimm.
Now, do the sisters cut off their heel and
yes,
toes?
They cut off their heels, toes, and they do get their eyes pecked off by birds. So in one way, Disney did something right. Did something from the Brothers Grimm, but it was actually but they put it in the musical Into the Woods. I assume it's on Disney Plus.
We'll have to watch it and review it.
We're going to have to. I heard Johnny Depp's in it.
Okay. I like Johnny Depp.
He plays the big bad wolf.
Nice. I can see that.
And he's like, what he does is he looks like he's a human. He's dressed up like a pimp if you look at it. Like wearing the suit, and like I'm like, and he's trying to tell Red Riding Hood, look at the flowers, trying to get her off the path. Whatever you heard in the Red Riding Hood book. Mm. And like I said, they have that. It's really fun. Meryl Streep plays the witch. They got stuff from the Grimm fairy tales, like Rapunzel, Jack and the Beanstalk, Cinderella, the whole thing. They got Chris Pine as Prince Charming.
Okay.
And you know the prince that's in Rapunzel is his brother.
Okay.
So in one way, I recommend watching it. I know it's not better. I know the Broadway version's better, but hey, just watch it one day and see what you think.
So, there are actually 2 sequels to Cinderella. One came out in 2002 and the other one came out in 2007. I do like how they had the original Cinderella came out in 1950 and then they released a sequel in 2002 and then 2007.
Yeah.
We are not going to talk about those because they probably suck anyways, so...
Yeah, like I said, we're just we're going to talk about the ones that we think is actually.
I do think in the second one, I think it is Anastasia that finds love. After her family is disgraced.
Yeah, and besides that, and like I said, we're not going to talk about those right now. We're just going to focus on the ones that had an impact on us. You know, like this Cinderella. We could talk about one with Brandy's in it.
Mm-hmm. That one, we're going to be talking about that one here pretty soon.
Dope as fuck.
We are going to also talk about the one that Hilary Duff was in.
A Cinderella story, which is actually, I recommend that one.
Yeah. And then I will be talking about the one with Selena Gomez. Mike didn't seem to really like that one.
Well, to me,
or he hasn't seen it yet.
I've seen it. It's the same thing, except the difference is they changed the whole, girl getting ready to go to college, except it was with dance. So it's like they add something new.
Yeah.
It's still the same thing.
Yeah, but so we have, just look forward to those. We will do those here within the next few months. We're not going to do it all at once. We're just going to spread them out because we don't want you guys to get burned out on Cinderella, and we sure don't want to get burned out on Cinderella because we do have to watch these.
And trust us, it just takes a lot out of it if you did it all at once. It will. Trust us.
And then once we finish the last one, then we'll make a playlist. So if y'all want to go binge those, you can.
And like I said, it'll help.
Yeah.
And like I said, and what's the next week's hint, Jules?
Okay, so next week's hint is, let me pull up my little list here. Batman's a fascist.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So tune in for the next week episode where we're going to have, and we want to thank again for people who watched our Quiet on Set. That episode boomed us. We were at 25. It took 2 or 3 days to get us at the 37 subscribers.
Yeah.
So we all thank you again for that. And now we're at 215 reviews on.
Yeah, views on our video. Yeah. So it would have been nice if those 215 people had actually subscribed to us.
But hey, at least we got what we got. Let's take that.
Yeah.
And I know you guys say, because here's the thing, they say, well, that's not much. I'm like, to us, it is. When you're starting, that is much to us.
Yeah, because the last video, because we have 40-something videos, and before Quiet on Set blew up, the most that we had was 100 and something, and that was the Hunchback of Notre Dame video that we did back in January.
And then we got up to with Spirited Away. And that was that was last year.
That was our very first video, and that just recently hit 100 subscribers or 100 views.
And before you guys say anything, it's just no. Right now, we just want to say we do thank you all, and
we appreciate
it.
Yeah.
And I know you guys say, well, it's not much, but to us, it is. Because if you guys look at the people who've done this for years, like Smosh or Channel Awesome or Cinemassacre, they've been doing this for years and years and years. Because when they're starting out, they didn't get that much views, and after years and working and trials and errors, that's how they got up. So, in my opinion, to us, getting 37 is a big deal to us.
Yeah, and we really appreciate you guys. We still need you guys to like and comment. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, because if you guys do comment and you do like our videos, that can get us into the algorithm, and then we can get more viewers. Because our goal right now is to get 100 viewers or 100 subscribers. Once we get up to 100 subscribers, then we can actually start showing our faces. And then you can see what we look like. We have so much stuff that we have planned that we would like to do, but that requires us to show our faces, and we want you guys to see our faces and get acquainted with us before we start doing some of the things that we have planned. One of the things that we want to do is cosplay for you all. Mike's going to cosplay as Tsunade. I'm going to cosplay as Gordon. from Black Clover. Tsunade is from Naruto. If you guys don't understand,
And we also want to do more future projects with the podcast. Hell, we have ideas for game shows we want to do, but we can't do it until we get up to more subscribers. Like we have an idea that we want to do.
Well, don't.
Yeah, we'll tell you when we get to it, maybe. But we want to do something like that.
Like we have plans that we would like. I would even like to go to conventions with you all, and like maybe do like a little mini vlog when we're at conventions. Because like I get to go to Colossal Con North this year in Wisconsin, and I'm super excited about that. And because I've never been to Wisconsin. So leaving my home state and going to Wisconsin is kind of a big deal for me. Plus, I get to meet Kaiji Tang, which is the voice actor for Gojo. And we all know how I feel about Gojo. So, like, I would like to maybe do a vlog like that. But we can't until we get up to, over 100 subscribers.
And also we can get better equipment.
Yeah. Because right now, all we're using is a microphone and my laptop. That's all that we've got right now.
All right. I think that's it. We need to close out. And tune back from
next week.
Next week, and we'll get right to it. Yep. All right. Let's end it.
Yep. So you guys have a good day, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.